I'm curious about the relationships between indigenous people of the land and when people come through the land. Whether it's visitors that have been invited, invaders, and in the context of enslaved Africans, they were enslaved Africans. They didn't choose to come. But I wonder what that relationship was like when, you know how we rally, we rally for when someone is missing or something. We rally for when there's a child kidnapped. We kind of rally for that. So I wonder if they were like, wow, this is a child that's running away. Should we protect this child? You know? Was
Yeah, that's another another beast, like I would call it. First of all, you had words like you had indigenous. You know, word indigenous here. We're gonna talk about those who were here first. So if we talk about those who were here first, who had there? Are these Native Americans, and also saying Native Americans, but what's actually the names? Because America, what's the name of America before the America we know as it is? What's actually the Native Americans call themselves as Native? Because I was reading this, it's on the book, I came on the internet, I came across this thing. This guy was contesting, like, no, black Americans that we call African Americans, actually they're not African Americans, they're Native Americans, because they've been here for centuries. So therefore, the term African Americans, it sounds like they came here like yesterday, but they've been here, so they deserve to be Native as well, because they suffer just as much as the people we call Native Americans. So I found that interesting, to see what makes you Native Americans, what doesn't make you Native Americans. And eventually I'm not saying, black people here should be Native Americans, because the migrations have already happened in time, but at least considering the number of the Native, what we call the Native Americans, the number of the tribes that existed and exist here in currently exists, it's in all American territory. You talk about all of them, the Apache, the Navajo, the Ohlone, like this land we here in California,
Miwok,
all. So that was like almost an entire continent.
And we just barely scratched the surface.
and barely scratch the surface. And when we talk about the entire continent of Native Americans, and we're talking about tribes that have languages too. They spoke a language. They also have questions, like we see in Africa. Actually, in Africa we have all these tribes, and we are speaking Igbo, Lari, and all these languages. We have cultures and subcultures. Luckily, it was not erased. They survived colonizations for the most part, than maybe Native Americans did not survive. So now if we come about who comes in and the invaders, and as you say, to come and go, who's coming and who's going, and who's coming and who's going,
and who's staying,
and
then also,
and who's staying.
It's almost like putting borders on water, right? Like when you dam a water, it's only a matter of time before it bursts out. Right? And so if we can think of land in that way, right, and the people being entities on the land, I just imagine that like indigenous people, all over the world, when we are on the land, we are with the land, we are stewarding the land, we are moving with the cycles of the earth, right? And so, as long as we are in harmony with the planet, we can move. If we feel that the water tides are coming up, we move. If we feel that the earth needs 2 years to replenish because we just had a big harvest, we move. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Now, sometimes we don't move. Sometimes we hold on. And sometimes not in harmony of the planet. And I believe that that has become the beginning of the end. In other words, right? If there's an understanding that we are moving because the earth is changing, that is a different relationship than we are moving because we're here to take over your land.
Yeah, I mean, those are the aspects. That brings me to say, we are part of the nature. The nature is not part of us.
No,
we
no.
are we human beings, but we are beings like any other beings
That's right.
on this planet. That's why we have terms like nomads.
That's right.
And what's the opposite of nomads? In French, we say sédentaire.
Sedentary. Yeah.
Sedentary. So yes, those who don't move, we call them sedentary because they resist. They don't want to leave because they're fine with being resilient to the changes of the climates. And those who are nomad, they want to explore.
That's right.
They want to see what else is on the other side.
That's right.
And this tendency brings us to being a species. And within that species, human species, we have tendencies of things we want to do, and those humans with that tendency get together to become nomads or become sedentaries. So, and again, that's true too. This phenomenon, if we call it the migration phenomenon,
Yes.
is a very natural human. It's something that is inherent.
Not
to
just
us.
humans.
It's
Fish do it.
Fish do it.
Rabbits do it.
Like
Birds do
I want
it.
to say beings.
Beings.
It's very beings that we
Very
move.
much.
Very
And
much.
I will guarantee you that if we paid attention to the seeds and the roots of the tree, they're doing the same thing too, going to search for water, going to search for nutrients, bringing it back. Seeds are flying, they're germinating.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? They're not just staying.
Birds do it.
You know?
But somehow we have created borders. You say borders on water, but we have borders. Land borders. Creating border is like telling people who are doing the most natural movement, natural
Not to
thing,
move.
not to move.
That's
But how
the
you gonna
beginning of the
prevent-
issue, is
So
what I
if The
believe.
beginning of the issue is to tell to a person not to move.
Not to move.
But this person is part of the nature. They are done to move as
right.
climate change, as the planet
That's
is
right.
moving.
That's right.
We dare to move. How can you ask somebody not to move?
That's right.
And then you put, for you to move this one territory
Yes.
to another territory, you need a visa. And if you don't have that visa, that paper, and we have the problems we have here.
Today's day and age, that will be considered your COVID papers or your COVID test results.
And-
that's your papers to move around.
And that's
in the
another
context of today.
problem we
Yeah.
are bringing in society, as we are putting all those barriers to something that is not natural, and we are just bringing problem, and that's we forgetting about actually learning from ancestry. We
That's
talked
right.
about the ancestors. What did they do? The ancestors are just those who came before us,
Who learned lessons?
who learned lessons, who lived also in harmony with this nature before we had concrete jungles.
That's why we inherited this gorgeousness, right? That is slowly deteriorating. We have to do something to keep this earth in harmony with us as humans. We are not in harmony as the human race with the earth, I believe. And we've created a cancerous planet with our junk, with our plastic, with our rubbish, right? But I want to think about okay, so I know that, I don't know this, I read this somewhere, I saw this somewhere, I heard this somewhere, that this land that we call the Americas, North America, or the United States of America, is known as Turtle Island because people believed that it had the shape of a turtle. And then of course when you get into the turtle, then different lands and different cultures, people identify themselves as a group of people who move in harmony with, I was asking my father the other day, okay? As an Igbo woman, the term omenana translates to culture. But the literal translation is the way of the land, right? The behavior, the way of the land. That's what culture translates to in Igbo. So I asked my dad, I said, so, which land? I live here in America. I'm from Igbo land. Am I supposed... The way of which land? And he said to me, as an Igbo person, you have a way of cultivating the land. You have a way of listening to the water, listening to the forests, no matter where you are. That is the way. That is your way of the land. So what does that say to me? He also said that all water is connected. All land is connected and all forests are connected.
Yeah.
So if we're moving from that indigenous perspective, I will always respect the planet. I will still till the land like I did. I wouldn't leave my homeland and throw plastic in because I'm visiting the United States. No.
Yeah.
Right? If all people move that way, I really wonder what it would be like. Honestly.
Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is just to look at what we've designed as the map of the planet. When you look at the map, look at
yes,
just look at
those man-made borders.
I know, just look at what we consider. But even though this man-made border, sometimes it's funny to me because I remember first time we went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, I was in the capital is, I believe, San Juan, and then I took this little airplane. I went to Culebra. So as soon as I landed to Culebra, my body felt like I was home.
Yes.
In the Congo, I'm like the same feeling that I have every time I leave America, go to back home to Africa, to Congo. My body, literally, there is something that changes my body. The weight that coming off, and also just the sense of I'm home. But I had the same feeling when I was in Culebra in Puerto Rico. And they're speaking Spanish. I mean, I don't speak Spanish, not yet. But it's just the people, the way they walk, the way they're moving, the hand gestures, the way they
look
talking.
like? What are the features like?
The features like a mix. You see some folks, they mix. They like me, some are like me, some like you. It's a range of skin tones.
Yes. I'm trying to imagine because I've never been.
And yeah, it's a range of skin tone. And the elders or the elders one that I met, they were like, this is not an American territory, and we are Africans. I swear.
Yes!
They literally, the oldest one I met, I've come the conversation, they're like, we are Africans. And I met this guy who was a taxi driver. He knew the history of the land, and he knew exactly where they came from. Like, we are lost in this island, but home is Africa.
Yes.
And I mean, we see it with Baba Ruben, Baba Ruben is this elder who runs this
Oyanike in
Berkeley, California. He's a Baba, which just means he's a spiritual healer. He owns the community. He's a wise man. He does a lot of spirituals. Educator, performer. Yes, performer. Event or community organizer.
Yes.
But he was born in the land of Puerto Rico. But he doesn't claim Puerto Rico as the land. He's all into Congo culture, and he knows Yoruba culture, and all of that.
Culture,
so you see our 1%, like the identity sometimes we put on ourselves are not actually those. It's not necessarily who we are, even if you want to think that's who we are. Yes, everybody can say we that. And we may not also be that.
Wow. I just had a whole thought of like, well, if that's the case, I don't identify as African.
Here we go. You may not identify as African.
I do not.
Now, would you identify with that becomes interesting.
Yes, because I don't identify as African because I don't know where that word came from. And I don't know where the carving of Africa came from. It did not come from my ancestors. So, the real question is then, I identify as an Igbo woman, to be honest, first and foremost. And that, that is the culture. Now, if you say, okay, which country are you from? Well, it depends. I am the country of Eziagiwolo Ogwago. That's my people, and that is the land we have stewarded for centuries.
Yeah, I
Yes?
mean, that's a beautiful answer I love that answer. And again, that really requires from all of us, from whatever we claim we are, Africans or non-African, we have to take that journey a few centuries back in time. I know for some it's hard to find the sources and find the resources.
It is a privilege to know. Yes.
Like where you came from.
That's
Because
right.
when we take that journey back in time, you're gonna realize first of all, Africa, the name Africa was not given by Africans.
An African.
Some people will say, oh, African name used to be Al-Kebulan.
Al-Kebulan.
Al-Kebulan was the name of the land, what's called the African land.
Which land though?
Okay, but I mean, that's which land?
Which land?
And what time period?
And
because
which time period,
when
yes.
you look at the map, Africa and South America, that used to be together. It's one land before the separations. As we said in the beginning.
And it wasn't a human-made separation.
No,
this is nature.
But we are part of nature.
I know, you're right.
And we know until now that same movement is happening every day.
Yes.
And that we're gonna count in 1 million years from today.
That's right.
All we see today won't be as is.
No.
So
how do you claim you're from this land if it's not even there anymore?
And also, if we can all accept that dinosaurs existed on the earth and they went extinct, what tells you that you or us as humans, how we're gonna be?
I'm sorry, I don't believe that they existed. I don't believe that dinosaurs ever existed. I think that was made up.
You mean? Okay, what about this? The evidence, the skeleton that's found. You can find them in the museums. The old skeletal structures of dinosaurs have been found, and the old mammoths have been found in.
That could have been made in the lab.
No, the old thing.
That could have been created in some,
The ancestor of the elephants, the old thing with the what's called the horns have been found.
I'm just kidding. And it's true because it's like a lot of people would say, well, it's not true that the oldest remains were found in Africa.
Yeah, I would. Maybe they have not quite, dug yet past the entire planet on a sieve. Once you pass, maybe one day they will say, oh, actually, it was somewhere
in South America,
in South America, or in Asia. Why not?
Or in Asia.
Yeah, I mean, because for now it's been found there. For now, but let's wait.
Yeah, I mean,
wait.
Perhaps.
But the purpose also, even if you found, it's not like to bring everything, because there is also this thing here. We try to bring everything back to Africa. Not so necessarily. We need to bring the things back to
the origin.
The origin. When this whole thing was together.
That's right.
Before the separations of the land.
It's all one land.
It's one land
one
actually.
Land.
So before the
So
separations.
then, how do you feel about the conversation regarding human beings? And did we start with one human being? Or did we start with a sprouting of human beings across the world? Like mushroom or something?
I think it's an interesting question. I would go with we didn't necessarily start with one human being though.
Yeah.
Considering when I look at the planet, I'm like, there is no
How
way.
could it be?
Just like when I look at the universe.
Yeah.
There is no way. I mean, call me crazy. I think there is no way in this universe, human beings or planet Earth, we are the only form of life. I don't believe it.
No way.
I mean, there is no way. Look at the Milky Way. How many galaxies?
Did we start with one fish and did we start with one dog? Like, how did that happen?
I don't know. It's nature. It's nature.
Let's ask.
Just look at us. Look at the cells we have.
It's incredible.
Look at the life of the cells. It's an entire universe
universe is inside the universe. Inside the universe.
Inside of us. It's a whole universe, you guys.
Yes.
Look at the cells.
Wow.
Look at the cells within us. It's a whole universe. And then we talk about planet. Look at the Milky Way. This is just one.
This is just one.
The solar
tiny
system. And the galaxy we call Milky Way, that's one tiny galaxy, one tiny among billions of them. I mean, come on, guys.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
So, in
Anyways,
conclusion,
call me crazy. In conclusion, for me, it's really important to be asking ourselves also. You know, I don't take everything for granted. I don't settle on. Yes, I know I'm from the Congo. I know my mom is Congo. My dad is Tangi. I know the lands where they came from. But I'm sure if I go on this land and I start actually questioning about where actually my great grandfather came from, because I'm saying, yeah, they're from the Tangi land, but we know even in Africa people travel and settle in one part and they stay there. But you will find that they did not necessarily belong to the place we're calling, oh, my ancestor came from this village. Maybe they came from another village. So
That's
I
right.
think for me, it's about keeping the inquiry going, keeping the research, the questioning. We have to keep going, even if there is a sense of belonging, like, oh, I belong to this ethnic group, I belong to this land. Yes, I do. It's true. It also cannot be true if we keep digging. There are many things we can discover versus limiting ourselves to what we take for granted or what we know. But there's a lot more things that we have no idea, what we don't know. Everything is evolving. I don't know what you think.
yeah, it's really interesting to take the position of, I don't know. Right? There's something really freeing about, I don't know, and I'd like to know more. That's the thing that has driven me to learn more. I think once I become content with, oh, I know this, I know all about the origin story, and I know all about science, then that's when I stop growing.
Yeah.
Do you know? I believe that we as humans are expansive beings. We're meant to expand. We're meant to expand. And the very moment we are constricted from that, that is the end. Similar to the water, damming the water, similar to borders and controlling that, similar to even controlling population. You know, like, that's not on you. It's not on you to try to control that. Stop it, right?
Yeah.
There's something much bigger. I mean, I feel like here's what we can stop, though. We can stop hurting the planet. We can stop that. There's certain things that we know we can do to be more in harmony with the planet than not.
Yes, we can. But yeah, that little nature in some of us, the troublemakers, it's all part of us. Those who wanna, create harmony, and those who wanna, what do you call it, wreak havoc?
Yeah, destroy.
Yes.
The energy of destruction is real,
Yes.
right? We know that all too well, the destruction energy.
Yes.
But destruction is good because you can build after destruction.
That's the thing.
There's reason for destruction.
The cycles.
Cycles.
Create cycles.
So, we have some friends
So,
coming.
all right. We got friends coming, and let's all have friends coming, and let's keep moving. Let's keep questioning. Okay.
Keep questioning.
Keep questioning.
Keep asking.
We keep asking, and we come and ask again. Thank you, Mama Uzo.
Appreciate it. Matondo. Dalo. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Matondo.